is there's the satisfaction out of hurting someone because you know that they care.
She was literally crying to me about how mistreated she is by her ex and had me thinking that I could be the guy who could fix her, the guy who could fix her, the guy who could fix her.
You've reached Exposing SMG. I'm Angela.
And I'm Alana.
And we run a celebrity news blog where we uncover celebrity secrets and give you the inside scoop.
Hey everyone, and welcome back to Exposing SMG. Today we are going to be talking about a topic I find personally really interesting, and that is how Selena Gomez manipulated Charlie Puth and he ended up exposing her. Now, some of you guys may be hearing this and thinking that this is crazy and that it never happened, blah blah blah, but I'm actually going to be showing you exactly how Charlie Puth's song Attention is about Selena and how he came on to a Genius interview where he basically described her and her character. There's actually a lot of proof in the story, and it's almost shocking how he gave so much proof that the song is about her and nobody really caught on or wanted to make it news. So in this video, I'm going to show you guys all the proof. And keep watching to the end to get a little mini surprise. Okay, let's start. So back in 2016, Charlie and Selena collaborated on a song called We Don't Talk Anymore. She recorded the song in his closet and it just went from there. They became super close and had a little fling, and Charlie fell so hard for Selena. She charmed the living crap out of him, and it wouldn't be Selena if she didn't play the shit out of him. And Selena did what she does best, and no, that wasn't mind her own business or work on her own mental health. She charmed him, and she brought up her ex, Justin Bieber. When Selena and Charlie were promoting We Don't Talk Anymore, the music video was not filmed yet. Instead, they performed the song on her revival tour and promoted it that way. During this time, Selena was charming and playing Charlie like a siren. She would complain about Justin Bieber 24/7 because she's obsessed with him, and I'm mentioning this because later on in this video, you're going to see how her complaining about Justin actually plays a role in her relationship with Charlie. As Charlie and Selena were getting closer, she would make Charlie feel like he's the one that's going to take her pain away. She made him feel super special and that they had something. And he did what one would do best and started envisioning a relationship with her. And as soon as everything was going well between them, Selena got bored. So what did she do? She dipped. And then Charlie was left feeling confused and completely messed up. When it came time to film the music video for We Don't Talk Anymore, Selena was not in it because they literally didn't talk anymore. And he even admitted that to a fan on Twitter. So let's go back for a minute. When Selena and Charlie were still on good terms, and she was complaining to him about Justin, he felt so empathetic with her that on his own concert, he went live and screamed, "F you, Justin Bieber."
Fuck you, Justin Bieber.
On my blog, exposingsmg.com, I spoke more in depth about this, and I said that Selena ended up telling Charlie to stay out of it, and the reason why she didn't want him going public with it was because she wanted Charlie to dislike Justin behind closed doors, but if he took it public, then everybody would kind of know, okay, Charlie and Selena are hanging out, suddenly he hates Justin, she's complaining about Justin to Charlie. So when he did go out and say that, she told him to literally stay out of it, even though she kind of brought him in it when she would use most of their hangouts complaining about him. So when things ended badly between Charlie and Selena, he realized that Justin wasn't the bad guy in the relationship. If anything, he got played the same way Justin did. And suddenly he went from a hater to a fan. So due to Charlie's realization about Selena, he ends up coming out with a new song called Attention. And it literally describes the type of manipulation Selena used on him that she uses on any one of her exes.
Every one of my exes thinks I'm crazy, so I don't care. Every one of my exes thinks I'm crazy, so I don't care.
Usually when you have someone that is constantly talking about their exes and describing them as crazy, or they say something like my exes think I'm crazy, it's usually that person's fault. And this is a red flag that we often hear about when we're meeting new people. So the fact that celebrities get a pass is crazy. Leading up to the release of Attention, Charlie admits that him and Selena have had a fling. And he basically says that it was very short-lived, very small, but very impactful, and it really messed him up. And then he goes on to say, I'm trying to put this in the best way possible. It wasn't like I was the only person on her mind. And I think I knew that going in, what I was getting myself into. This is one of those things where you can tell when a person is bad for you, or you can see the red flags that you keep dismissing. He knew that somehow this wasn't going to end up well for him.
When I came up with the song originally, I was on this hotel bed in this really cool room in the Philippines. I'm thinking back about the time I was in that hotel room. She was literally crying to me about how mistreated she is by her ex, and had me thinking that I could be the guy who could fix her.
When Charlie was talking about how he worked on We Don't Talk Anymore, he was in the Philippines when he called up Selena to discuss the song. And now here he is telling us that that same day, this girl, Selena, was crying to him about how mistreated she was by her ex, aka Justin.
I was in this really cool room in the Philippines. It's a very small industry, this music industry, so you hear, oh, she's saying this about you, and she told this person that you're shit and you're no good. And I never heard it from the horse's mouth.
This part is really funny because Charlie's basically talking about how full circle this whole story is. The same way she talked badly about others to him, she started talking badly about him to others, and it ended up coming back to him when he said that we would be at parties and people would come up to me like, you know, she said this and this about you. And I think it's really funny because that's the same exact thing she would tell him about others.
And had me thinking that I could be the guy who could fix her. It almost paints the picture of like the background music of all the parties that I went to with her.
So this is Charlie opening up about how she made him feel like they were going to be in a relationship and that he was special and was going to be the one to fix her from all these problems. And now we're going to talk about my favorite part, which is the meaning behind Perfume Regret.
I know that dress was gonna perfume regret. Got me thinking about when you were mine.
I go into the Edition Hotel and she's wearing this very distinct perfume that it's almost like she wore it on purpose, because it's the perfume that she wore when I first kind of fell in love with her. But she wore that perfume on purpose to fuck me up.
If you're still in denial about this song being about Selena, I have another treat for you. Notice how Charlie says he went to see the girl he's singing about at the Edition Hotel? Here is Selena leaving the Edition Hotel at the end of December 2015. There she is in all her glory. And at the end of 2015 is when Selena and Charlie started to talk, but it was very low-key. They were actually publicly photographed together at the Golden Globes after party in January 2016. So now that we've established even more proof that attention is about Selena, let's talk about what he meant by the lyric Perfume Regret.
I know that dress was gonna perfume regret.
I like this part because it shows a lot about how Selena is as a person and the unique little tactics she uses to get someone hooked. She wore the perfume when they first met the first night, and that perfume had a very distinctive smell. He thinks that she did that on purpose, and the truth is, she did. It's the little unique things like this that Selena does to manipulate the average person. To some, they will look at this occurrence as nothing. Maybe she always wears that perfume, is what they'll say, but knowing Selena and how she functions, nothing is done coincidentally with her. Charlie saying that it had a very distinctive smell also adds on to the fact that it's not something worn every day.
And now I'm all up on you, what you expect, but you're not coming home with me tonight.
When I saw her, I kind of just, it sounds mean, but I just ditched the girl that I was with, and I was so enamored by this girl that I wanted everything. I knew it was over, but I just thought if I walked up to her, something would ignite again, but I figured she's not coming home with me tonight. She just wants attention.
Here's Charlie talking about running into her after their fling was over. He sees Selena the way she often appears to people. She always seems like this mesmerizing, beautiful soul, but in reality, she's insane. And once the guy is out of her siren-like fog, they can see that too. And Charlie did, hence, she just wants attention. The next part is even more insane than Perfume Regret. What Charlie explains is the epitome of Selena.
You just want attention, you don't want my heart. Maybe you just see the thought of me with someone else. Yeah, you just want attention, hiding from the side. You're just making sure I'm never getting over you.
To the average person, these lyrics are just, oh, this girl wants attention. But if I had to break down Selena's relationship manipulation to its core, it's this verse and what Charlie says next.
When we would be talking in the hotel, she'd be like, you want to sleep over? I'd be like, yes, I'm gonna get it in. And then nothing would happen, which is totally fine. But after like the 5th time of that happening, I knew what she was doing, trying to make me so embedded to her that like I would never leave her, but I would never get what I wanted out of her.
I'm just shook that he explained all of this and nobody flinched. Nobody is even talking about it. This is just how Selena functions in a relationship. She'll play this game of constantly leading you on and then taking it away, and then leading you on again and then taking it away. And this type of thing works really well when you're trying to keep somebody hooked on you, because it's almost as if you're never giving them what they want, but you're always hinting that they're gonna get it someday, some way, and they never do. And that is basically what Charlie's talking about, and that is exactly what Justin Bieber was talking about when he released his lead single in 2015, What Do You Mean? It was literally about a girl who keeps going back on her word and just sending really mixed signals to the guy. And then Charlie ends it on a heartbreaking note, saying that he was so into her that when something as simple as a kiss happened, he literally cried because he was so touched.
Might have been like the first time that I just like kissed her or something simple like that. I just kind of, in the most manly way possible, just shed a little tear because it was a lot. And I didn't expect it to be a lot either.
Some people like to say that they don't feel bad for Charlie because he had no right to expect something more from Selena, such as him sleeping with her. And even though in the interview he says that was totally fine, it's not the idea that he was expecting something from her. It was the idea that she was putting it in his head just to keep him hooked.
I knew what she was doing, trying to make me so embedded to her that like I would never leave her, but I would never get what I wanted out of her.
I like to joke around about how Selena's the queen of manipulation, but these are actually real people with real feelings that she's hurting.
Shed a little tear. It was a lot. And I didn't expect it to be a lot either. It's a real thing, it's not an act. It's hard to listen to it.
And the song resonated with Justin that he even took to Instagram to post him listening to the song. You know what they say, victims gotta stick together. Kidding. Charlie has another song where he talks about Selena, and it's called I Warned Myself, and there he says, you mess with my heart, now you're the reason why. Do you remember when you told me I don't have to worry? He's overseas out on his tour, he'll be okay without me. You said you had nothing to hide, that you left him long ago, I should have known that was a lie. Oof, Charlie. To me, this song just shows that Selena's obsession with Justin is more prevalent. When Selena and Charlie's fling started at the end of December 2015, it continued until mid-2016. And when did Justin start touring? March 2016 to September 2017. Charlie continues saying, do you remember when you said not to tell anybody? Because if you do, I'll be the first to put my hands around your throat. If you had nothing to hide, why was no one supposed to know? I should have known that was a lie. In all honesty, she made him keep their fling a secret because she didn't take him seriously. And now that you've made it to the end, here's a little treat. I'm going to be putting Selena's Genius interview and Charlie's back to back, and you'll see this whole story practically come to life.
There's the satisfaction out of hurting someone because you know that they care.
She was literally crying to me about how mistreated she is by her ex and had me thinking that I could be the guy who could fix her.
Purposefully putting someone down because you want to keep them, at a level.
So she was doing that repeatedly just to get something out of me, which was for me to be attached to her hip at all times.
Because you want to keep them, at a level.
Trying to make me so embedded to her that like I would never leave her.
To keep that person down so they never realize, like, oh, I'm strong enough to actually get out of this situation.
I knew what she was doing, trying to make me so embedded to her that like I would never leave her.
Oh, I'm glad that, you're crying over me and that clearly you still love me and all.
Shed a little tear because it was a lot. It's a real thing, it's not an act. It's hard to listen to it.
Oh, I'm glad that, you're crying over me.
She wore that perfume on purpose to fuck me up.
It's a bit manipulative.
She just wants attention.
It's a bit manipulative.
She just wants attention.
Every one of my exes thinks I'm crazy, so I don't care.
Thank you guys so much for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe and comment down below what you think about this whole story. You can check out exposingsmg.com for more detailed inside information on celebrity lives. Thanks, and I'll see you next time.